Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Snakebite. We have a ton to cover and what will be a little bit of an unorthodox episode. Men's and women's basketball is in full swing already, and of course, we got everything else down the line. Let's roll that intro. Number 15 men's basketball has gotten back on track. They started the season 1-1, coming out of the Small College Basketball Hall of Fame Classic, where defense was a question, but offense was always the answer. The Mocs so far this year averaging north of 90 points per game. They've only done that under one coach in school history, Mike Donnelly. He's done it 3 times already, and he's looking to make it 4, and the Mocs are really helping him out. Every game this year, they've gotten more points than the previous. The only time they haven't scored 90, and their opener when they scored a measly 88. The Mocs have done a great job, though, in the last few against some tough opponents, including Clark Atlanta, who was picked to finish first in the SIAC East and also receiving votes. The Mocs won that game easily, in great part thanks to all-around play from everyone on the court, especially Amari Miller, who has been fantastic so far this year. The Mocs then took on Savannah State, where Brady Corso showed out, helping the Mocs triumph over Savannah State and win by an average of 26 points between those two schools. The Mocs then took on Staten Island, a team all the way from up north, and they came down and traveled well. It was their best start for Staten Island since moving up to Division II in 2019. They almost beat Tampa, lost 94-90, but their star player Goldstein, he scored 40 points, a Division II school record, and against the Mocs, he got nowhere close. Florida Southern's defense has stepped up recently, but Corso, who I mentioned earlier, he has been a huge addition from St. Leo. Corso so far this year averaging 17 points per game on 46.9 shooting from the field and 3-point, with only 1 missed free throw, shooting 96%. Corso will look to be one of the top players in the conference, and he was the top player against Savannah State, where he scored a Moxon career high of 24 points. I was able to talk to him after the game, so let's see that.
Brady, so far we've seen you have a ton of success here at Florida Southern. What has the adjustment been like?
Yeah, I think, I think it's just all the guys behind me, just really accepting me, and we just get along so well. We already got a crazy bond, crazy chemistry. Like, it's so good. We're just taking it day by day. Just coming to practice on Monday and being ready to take on our next opponent. Good win tonight.
We've seen a really strong response since that UVA-Wise game. What's been the momentum coming into a night like today to make it 2 straight?
Yeah, I think it's just the urgency that we had in practice. Guys coming day by day. Just being ready to play, being ready to fight at practice. But we just stacked days on and off the court. So it was a good win.
Awesome. Thank you, Brady. Back to you, Jim.
And Carl, it's not just the Corso show. Your aforementioned Amari Miller continues to impress on both ends, averaging just under 3 blocks a game to pair with 16 points and 8 boards. Walsh continues to excel for the Mocs as well, picking up the slack wherever he's needed. And last but not least, out of the group, double figures averaged for Amir Ramadan.
Amir, one of those 4 players to average double figures. You mentioned the other 2, as well as Corso, who I mentioned. Amir's been great this year. Coming in as a freshman from Orlando, I was obviously a little bit biased towards him. He's from my neck of the woods. But he's been excellent so far in his sophomore campaign. One of the top shooters, assisters, and even rebounders as of late. He got a career high in points, rebounds, and assists in the game against Staten Island, and he's looking to just continue to grow from here on out. J.C. Barrett was able to get an interview with him right after the game, so let's see that.
What's up, guys? I'm here with Amir Ramadan, who had a great night, 15 points and 6 assists. Amir, what was the mindset going into this one?
As a team, we wanted to come out and throw the first punch. So I feel like we did that, and we did a good job in the second half coming and, closing the game.
Yes, sir. Amir, the Mocs are off to a 4-1 start.
Yes, sir.
How does it feel?
It feels great. I got a good group of guys. We only been together for a couple months, but it feels like we've been together forever. And I love this group, and it's fun being with them every day.
How do you plan on keeping this momentum going throughout the year?
Just keeping the same chemistry, on and off the court. I feel like we're a good, connected team, and I feel like we do a good job just staying bonded together.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Amir.
The men have a well-deserved break after this past week of action. They have a whole week off as they'll wait till Friday, not this one, next one, when they'll be hosting the Century Retail Thanksgiving Classic. They'll start it off against Winona State Friday the 28th. And the Mocs, they're looking really good right now. They've finally found some cohesiveness in this group full of transfers and some guys that didn't get too much run last year. Something that I really am excited for. I think they can have double-digit wins by the time the new year comes around, and that's something that we haven't seen in a while from this Florida Southern program. But something we haven't seen in a while either is a 30-point scorer.
My goodness. And Sydney Gomes, talk about her performance. It is her world, and we are all just living in it. The senior guard continues to dazzle for the Mocs as she posted a wonderful 30-point game in the second game of the season this year. And the first game didn't go as well against the Cleveland Tennessees hosting the receiving votes Lee University. But, you know, they fell 75-61, and they bounced back their next game. They followed it up against the game in University of Alabama, Huntsville, and Gomes scored 31 points in 35 minutes of play. Can you believe that?
Sydney did a great job there. She's known for her ability to get to the rack. As last year, she did great with getting to the free throw line. One of the top free throw shooters in the entire country. She was 8 for 8 in that first game, which allowed her to get 12 points, but she was just 2 for 10 from the field. In that second game against Huntsville, it took a little bit to get in, but once it got to that fourth quarter, it was the Gomes show. She did tremendous getting to the line, but also really hitting clutch layups to give them that huge win against Huntsville, and she wasn't the only one representing the Mocs there.
Yeah, obviously it was Gomez's best performance of the year, and do you think she could top that?
I think Sydney can definitely top that. I think that's the easiest question to answer all year. She was on Wayne Cavaldi. If you don't know him, he's one of the top writers for Division II for every sport. But she was on one of the top 7 top guards to return for this year, and there's a good reason why. She had 2 triple-doubles within a week last year. And she's the first person to ever do that for Florida Southern, to have 2 in a career, let alone 2 in a season or a week. She also led D2 in all triple-double categories. She also led the Mocs points, rebounds, assists, steals, and free throws last year. She can do it all, and I wouldn't be surprised if she got a 40.
Right, and like you said, it wasn't just her. Monica Ballestier and Carlota Gomez Alonso also came up big, scoring 10 points each and providing much-needed rebounds. And as we continue further into this season, the Mocs game against Colorado Christian was filmed during this production time, but the Mocs will return to action the same day on the 28th, and they will be competing in the Mocs Thanksgiving Classic as well.
Super excited to see that development from Ballester. She had a lot of injury issues in the early part of her collegiate career, which sidelined her before coming here to Florida Southern. This has been the first season where she's been able to get some real run, and it's always fun seeing those players that weren't able to get those chances early on really develop. And Alonso Gomez, she is coming from the D1 level from Abilene Christian. She was a really good JUCO player, didn't get much run there, but she is really, really fun to watch. Has had some foul trouble, 9 fouls through the first 2 games, but playing tonight against Colorado Christian, which will come out, this episode will come out after that game, I'd expect to see her get at least 5 assists. She is a great player as a passer, as a forward. But we also have to talk about hockey. I know it's been a long time, and now I guess Florida's a hockey state. I didn't think that would ever happen. I know you're a lot more of a hockey guy than me, but we do have to talk about the Mocs hockey team. The Mocs hockey team was pretty good this weekend. They had 3 games, winning 2 of them, but we'll start with the leadoff. They led off against Florida Tech, where the Mocs demolished the Panthers, 7-3. Michael Izzo led the way with a hat trick in the win, and then the Mocs took on another SSC opponent in Lynn University. That was a 2-game series. The opener, the offense wasn't there. The Mocs got shut out. It was 5-0, something to just forget about for Mocs fans. But the very next game, the Mocs came up big, and they came up big late as well. Will Marshall, one of the top players in all of hockey D2, especially in the South region, he has been excellent his whole time here at Florida Southern, and he was excellent this weekend. He had a hat trick in the 4-3 win. Oh, I think I forgot to mention, it was in overtime that the Mocs won that one, with Marshall scoring the game-winning goal. The Mocs will be back in action against UCF today at 10:15, so make sure, have some caffeine, maybe some tea. Get ready for that. Maybe take a mid-afternoon nap, because it will be an exciting one against UCF. It was a tight rivalry last year. We'll be hosting them here Friday, 10:15 at Lakeland Ice Arena, like I mentioned, and then they'll be making the trip across I-4 to go play in the Knights Stadium as well. We mentioned women's soccer to open the show, and man, they've been historic this year.
Yes, absolutely. And even though they did have historic performances, they did not get the bid in the South Region tournament for this year's Division II tournament. And unfortunately, we're going to see a lot of change for this upcoming season. Liliana Jeffries did come home with the SSC all-team bid for defensive midfielder, And, you know, her performance this year, phenomenal. Over 1,400 minutes on the pitch. And the defense, it was absolutely dominating with, obviously, goalkeeper
Carly Brodsky was excellent this year. In this Moxon defense, Jeffries was a major part of it. She showcased excellent speed coming back from another big injury, talking about players coming back from injury for this Moxon side. And she had a huge bounce back here. You mentioned the 1,400 minutes off the bench, but also Madison Mail, another one of those seniors that played that CDM spot. We also saw Jordan King slot in sometimes for Florida Southern, Jasmine Adamas up top, and a number of different seniors that really made an impact that will be leaving this program after this year.
The defense, 9 shots, less than 9 shots every game that other teams played against them. It was absolutely dominant. And just this week, head coach Jerry Lucy has announced his departure from the program. He's put in so much work into this program over the last 3 seasons, bringing the Mocs to 2 SSC tournament games in the finals, in the semifinals, sorry. And this week he thanked the players and coaches as well as staff for his time, but he'll be moving to Long Island with his family. And, you know, we're going to see a lot of change next season because it's not only him that's leaving, it's also 8 other seniors, including Liliana Jeffries, including Madison Mail. You know, this is going to be a very different team, but we're going to hope and pray for them that they have some good recruiting, some good off-season talent that comes to Florida Southern, as well as give a shout-out to Jerry Lucy and thank him for his contributions to FSC soccer.
Jerry Lucy, a guy who really hopped onto the program at a good time. The Mocs had their best season in program history in 2022. The then coach left. Lucy took over, a former national champion with Tampa, and he really helped develop this team to where they are now. This past recruiting class, I would say one of the best, if not the best, that I've seen while covering Florida Southern sports. And if the Mocs can retain a lot of the freshmen we got this year, they can be really dangerous. Hackworth is one of those freshmen that's going to be really, really good next year if she can develop, as well as a number of others like DeSantos, and then transfers like Markey, as well as other returners like Riley Hasagawa. This team can be really dangerous next year. It just depends how much can it stay together. I think if they do, they can really shake things up again in the South region and the SSC. We'll round it out today with volleyball. They faced 2 really tough opponents this last week, 2 top 20 opponents. Leading off, they went against the reigning national champs and number 16 Lynn University. The Fighting Knights, they took care of business against the Mocs, to be completely honest, and the closest set was the second set where the Mocs fell 25-19. Florida Southern then looked to move on from that sweep as they went down to Miami Shores to take on the number 4 team in the country in Barry University, where the Mocs showed fight early on. They only lost the first set by 2 points, but that was as close as it got. The Mocs got swept again there, but we did see some glimpses of hope there with 36 total kills, 11 of them thanks to Chloe Moreland. Brielle Mullen also led the squad with 16 of the 35 total assists against Barry, and the Mocs now are 12-14. It's unlikely they'll get a regional bid, but they do still have a chance to end the season on a high note. Today they're taking on Embry-Riddle, and tomorrow they'll be hosting Florida Tech on Senior Day. I've seen a lot of senior days for a lot of different sports, and it's always huge to win those. And for the Mocs volleyball team, they've been doing it pretty well since my freshman year in 2022. That was the last time they lost Senior Day, and that was to number 16 Barry at the time. So that will do it for this week's edition of the Snakebite.
I'm shocked this week that we didn't talk about cross country, Carl.
Get a load of this guy. Of course we're going to talk about cross country.
Goodness.
Men's cross country is looking to show that they are the program here, not only in the South region, not only just in the southern part of the United States, but a top 10 team in the country. You heard it here first. I think Florida Southern has the capabilities to be a top 10 team in NCAA Division II. And by the way, that's with a quarter of the scholarship. If you're a booster, slide some money. The Mocs cross-country team not only deserves it, but, you know, we want to keep winning conference championships 3 straight. Also have to give a shout-out to the really great swim teams. Both of them ranked top 20 nationally. They're competing up against South Carolina right now with University of Tampa there as well. And the Mocs, they'll look to keep rolling, and make sure to stay tuned. You never know what we'll throw at you here on the Snakebite.